Yo, 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 yo. Um, so I kind of want to speak on Ibrahim Traore, um, doing great things for the original motherland. So here's my thing on this whole people not standing with him, and just part of the battle of what needs to be done is I comprehend that a lot of people are scared of losing their safety, being monitored, being targeted, so people don't want to help. But what you don't understand is the people who oppose our freedom are losing their powers. And the more we unite, whether they target us or not, the weaker they get. What you need to comprehend is, even as much as they pay a bunch of us, the traders and all that, there's still somewhere deep down inside where those traders, some people just look, life is about surviving. Some people do whatever to survive, but at some point, even the traders know deep down inside, deep down inside for some of them, really deep inside for some of them. And the ones that are gone, they're gone. But trust me, the ones that are gone aren't worth saving. But the ones that are deep down inside, everybody knows it's going to be more beneficial to have the freedom, of the original people. They shouldn't be offended if you think you're one of the original people. I haven't put any colors on it, but I'm just saying the original people. If if you know anything about life, you'll know what correlates with originality. That being said, that's why now I'm gonna start labeling stuff. Countries like Nigeria, Ivory Coast, which circumferences countries like Liberia, and Nigeria circumferences countries like, Congo. Togo. Yeah, Congolese, Togo. They're all around that area. And then let's not even talk about East Africa, Kenya, and the area circumference in Kenya. Those countries I named are headstrong into I don't want to say Western influence, but I guess that's the layman's term, but are heavy into being part of this mainstream mindset of like, we have to do what looks cool, quote unquote. But that's like more short term. In the long term, what is cool versus what looks cool is owning your own shit. You know what I'm saying? It's the volume of when you meet one person and they're all flashy and they look cool, but they live in their car. No offense. Sometimes it might be part of your hustle. That's not my point. My point is, it's the difference of meeting someone like that and then meeting someone that's absolutely not flashy, wears bummy clothes, but they have like 5 estates, 10 estates. They have lands on lands on lands, but they got holes in their socks, and shit. Sometimes they teeth don't even look clean, but they own a lot of shit, and it's the That's quite literally the difference between and that other person is far cooler, because that's literally the difference between wanting to look and feel cool, which is what Kenya, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Liberia more so lean towards, versus Burkina Faso, all the countries that join together to form what they form now. And and I'll get to the biggest trader, because honestly, all those countries I named are even the biggest traders. But yeah, so and then there's this, and those countries. I say we too, because I lived in Nigeria for 10 years. I am of Liberian descent. As you guys know, there was a war in Liberia. I was born in Nigeria due to my parents escaping that war. Long story short. And then later on we came to, the States. So I have, based on where my family's from, where I grew up, where I was born and grew up, and where I grew into my adulthood, I have quite a variety of experiences and views. And also my friends also are all different cultures, so I have quite an extent variety of perspectives, to where I feel like it is okay for me to speak on this, because I can speak on the importance of things back home. I can speak on the volume and the severity of things in the United States, what they call the United States. I can speak on the mindsets of Liberians, and being also around Kenyans, I can speak to a volume of the mindsets of Kenyans. And it's very what's the word, such a classist society, and that's not all the way a bad thing. But what makes it a bad thing is when you use that classism to prevent growth, because you're so ego driven on not feeling ashamed, quote unquote, or fear of popularity or losing popularity, and it also conferences around ego, basically. And those countries are very proud of their country, and they should, for their hard work and intelligence, but also dig down and be like, at what cost? It's not your betrayal that gave you that. You might think it is, but it's not. You are currently being recorded. And I think those countries I named should wake the fuck up and understand that they running shit. Most people in the United States reference, not Liberians, but reference Nigerians or Kenya, which is Nigerians is the West, Kenyans is the East, or Ethiopians, or Ghanaians, which is Ghanaians on the West, Ethiopians on the East. They reference those four countries mostly because we are in the United States, we're in the UK, and everywhere we go, we touch art, we touch technology, we touch science, and we excel in those. So that's not just because of the exposure, but that's also because of us, what's in our DNA. But we have, it's the same concept of us exporting things and buying it back at a higher price when it was there at home the whole time. It's the same concept as going to school overseas, going to school wherever, and it's good to a certain extent. But what you need to realize is it should show you that your true value, not you having more value in that than you do for yourself. Is my point. So, because when I look at this, I dissect a lot of things. That's just how my brain works. And I had to go to the core issue because right now everybody's talking about the surface, and that's why people don't reach solutions. So it was a surface, and every time someone wants to get close to the solution, there's a new surface distraction, which is now we can talk about Western, which is what quote unquote American Western media, quote unquote, portray. That's what they specialize at. It's the lack of better word, art of deceit, hiding in plain sight, distractions, gaslightings, many variations of that, and always coming at all sides. And if you think it's just psychological warfare, it's not. There's also biological. And you'll be like, what do you mean? How's this biological? How could they get us? If I don't take a shot, they can't get at me. No. It's quite literally in your food. That's why they care more about owning land. And if you see the lands they own or things they farm on and who they export it to is back to us because they've now tainted it with whatever the fuck they taint these things with. And all you have to do is look at people's consumption of it to know that something's wrong. When you eat these things, you might feel full because there's some solids in your stomach, but it doesn't mean you're feeling healthy. It doesn't mean you're feeling replenished necessarily. To an extent, yes, but not really. They are microdosing you with very different variations of substances to ensure you're docile, to ensure you're not as fruitful, to slow down all the things that does make you stronger. Just slow down enough, not to the extent where you completely know something's wrong, but just enough till you slowly get sick and either die or just too distracted with just trying to get healthy and feel healthy, So when you comprehend that, you start paying attention to the right things. And now let's go to South Africa. There is a country within a country, right, in South Africa called starts with an O. I can't remember right now. It starts with an O. But it's a quote unquote white only town in Africa, right? Let that be a black only town in America. I'm sure there are black mostly town, but it's not like they're kicking white people out. But in this town, they have their own quote unquote like hospitals, da 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 da. But there's also farmlands where they grow maize. And maize is like wheat. It's like a flour. It grows just like wheat. It grows just like flour. Like not a flour, but flour like the powder. And one of the biggest food consumed in many variations in quite some of these countries is maize. It's it's in different flours. It's in different things like fufus, different types of, not in all of that, but like it's just in different things that may have flour. And most of the things we have are made like that, so their shelf life lasts. So, things don't go bad quickly and you can make them. That's why most things are powder based, And you cook it and activates what it needs to activate, so it gets ready to eat. But when you start understanding that, you're gonna really comprehend, and then you have people. There's a South African president. He's talking about giving the land. He is trying to do better now. Trying about these Caucasian people over there and the black people, whoever has private owned land, to give it to the government because they're trying to do a revamp. And then there was a white quote unquote doctor saying, I worked really hard for this, that. I'm just gonna give my land over. But most of the time, back in 1960s, I believe, or was it the 1700s? No, I think it was the 1700s. There were white settlers after the wars and all that colonization, during and after, and a lot of them took lands. They didn't earn it. They didn't buy it. They just took it. And a lot of that is what is still going, is still the lands they own today, quote unquote own. And I'm gonna say quote unquote because a lot of these things are not right, and I'm not gonna give it the energy of saying that's what it is, because that's not what really exists. But that's the delusion that's presented. So we're going to remove that delusion. So as I talk about this to reference it, I am gonna say quote unquote a lot. But so I agree that there are people that do work hard for theirs. This isn't to come for those, but for those who stole it, it's not your land. And for those who quote unquote bought it, what are you doing with it? That needs to be investigated then, if that's the case. Are you exporting quote unquote goods that are poisoned to hurt other people? In that case, fine, keep the land, but we're not buying from you. It's your land, whatever, right? But we're not buying from you. And now you can't be upset because stop poisoning the shit that grows on there that you're exporting. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do. You can complain like, oh, they're trying to hurt. No one's trying to hurt your money. We're trying for y'all to stop hurting our people. So if your money is based on our people's pain, who's more wrong here? Oh, they're trying to hurt our money. No, we're trying to protect our people, make sure our people are fine and great. And then y'all can turn around and be like, well, that's the same thing we're trying to do. Well, I was going to cuss. Well, it's been enough of your people weaning off our people. So just like every game, like a basketball game, a football game, becomes halftime and you switch. You know what I'm saying? You can't stay on that side of the court forever. You can't stay on that side of the field forever. There has to be terms to make it fair, right? That's the whole point of switching sides on halftime, right? You guys understand that logic. So for the gaslighters that want to come and say, well, we'll do this for our people too. Well, let's even the playing field. And you can't say it's been even because it's not. No one's going to Ireland and shipping shit out and just taking y'all shit just without asking, unless it's y'all own people, but it's not our people doing that shit. And if there is, it's not that much. Not damn near the amount you guys have been pouring into our countries and taking. So, miss me with that. Gaslight. So, say all this to say, just leave our people alone. Just come in terms with the realities of y'all people stole most of the things. Y'all keep stealing. Y'all keep lying. you're awful people, to be honest. Most of your things are based on decept. We're not saying we're saints either, but to compare the playing fields of who is punished more for their misdoings, you guys are not damn near as punished as you should for all the wrongdoings you do. Y'all carry this like y'all should. The, y'all the ones, y'all the lawmakers, y'all the ones that are the judges and shit. And that's so stupid because what? And let's talk about racism too. Let's nip this in the bud. Racism is not what you is not only what you say, it's the actions behind what you say. I say that to say people might want to be like, that sounds racist. Like you don't like Caucasians or this and that. No, I have a good amount. I don't want to say that because that sounds like people say I have black friends. I have a good amount of Caucasian friends. No, that's not the point. The point is the agenda. And I don't see when a white person says nigger, that doesn't mean anything. Now, when a white person says nigger and throws a brick through a window, that's racist because there was an action behind it. When a white person says nigger and plots to fire someone based on them being black, that's racism because now there's an action behind it. When a white person says nigger and lies on a black man or female and puts them behind bars, that's racism. When there's these systematic moves to bring you down based on your race, that's racism. Whether it's for a petty reason or not, that is racism. When a black man calls a white man a cracker and does nothing, that's not racism. Now, if a black man calls a white man a cracker and then throws something at the white man, that's racism because he had an action behind it. It's racist when there's an action behind it. And the word racist is so stupid. But since that's what we're using now, I'll just say that. So when there's actions behind it. So black people talk crap about white people a lot. So does white people. But the difference is white people put hateful actions behind that most of the time. I'm not saying there's not black people out there that haven't. But we know that shit would be on the news if it was damn near as close as to what y'all doing. You don't see a black cop pulling over a white man and shooting a white man. But vice versa, you see it that way. And I'm sure y'all might want to stage that somewhere. Find a black idiot, pay him enough to do that. There's a lot of them out there that get paid to stage something stupid to make the rest of us look bad. Trust me, guys. There's a lot of them out there paid to do fucked up shit, and they'll do it because in their eyes, this white man has helped me out. Ain't no black man ever helped me out. At least those white men is putting money in my pocket. They're not seeing the bigger picture, and those are the type of closed-minded motherfuckers that these Caucasians prey on because they're desperate. They prey on desperate people that need money, or sometimes just it's not even about money, but that's the tool for desperate people because there are people who don't have money and they do have morals, but the combination of no money and no morals is like the the bass in the sea of fishes. They can't wait to catch that motherfucker and use that motherfucker. So. But my point is, Ibrahim Traore is doing a great thing. They want to say, well, it's a military coup, da-da-da. Again, same concept. It's about what you're doing with it, right? But now the opposite. Now we're not talking about doing bad things. Now we're talking about doing good things. Might be military, but they're doing good things for the country. They're building the country. They're not shooting nobody. They're not putting nobody behind bars. That... in the sense of people that aren't hurting the country. They're kicking corrupt people out, and they don't like that. And then let me wrap this up real quickly too. The main thing I really want to wrap up is there's a whole thing where um, U.S. armies claim that they have to be there to keep eyes on terrorists, and terrorists, they wait for countries to develop, then they take from it, and all this bullshit. And it's just so fucking stupid, right? There's this whole fucking big brother mentality, like, oh yeah, no, it's our job to go for other countries, and but you don't see them in China doing that because Chinese people are hip to that. So we as Africans individually, I've met a lot of smart, uh, I don't like to say Africans, but a lot of smart ones of us original people. But but as a unit, it's just such a divide that as a collective, I mean, there's just such a divide that that's what makes it. Where they come in at. But my point is, that's bullshit. Those are all excuses, and y'all, they keep using fear and shame and gaslight to manipulate y'all. And when you feel weak, just know that's the biology part. There's bio warfare and psychological warfare. And when both of those fail, they mix it up with some also physical harm. And then they just shuffle those cards over and over in different directions. And that's what they do over and over and over. But here's the thing. The physical, you shouldn't have to worry about as much. Because that is the motherland, and they will be stupid to destroy that land. Where all the resources come from, they're not going to bomb that much shit. They're not. They're absolutely not going to bomb that much shit. So when you comprehend that, you're going to, and then now you need to put protections in your skies. You need to put guards over your cities. Not just in the skies, but underground too. These motherfuckers, they dig. So you need to keep an eye out for that too. They might be in the next country digging from that underneath your country. You have to pay attention to all the directions. But the unity of us is the freedom of a lot of people, including Hispanics, Asians. A lot of us are in the same boat. Because at the end of the day, they can't do the labors we can do. They're not biologically equipped to do it. Most of the ones that do it, they're existentially infused with things that are not natural to their body make, which is why those of them have to stick with certain routines or medical procedures just to stay alive, which is drastically expensive for them. But they do that because that's the only way to keep up with the original people. So when you piece these things together, how can you let them control you? Why? How? And don't feel sorry because they don't feel sorry for you. Don't. Because if they felt sorry, there would be a much peaceful approach. There would be clarity. They'd be like, okay, listen, this is what I'm going through. This is what my grandma's going through. This is what we need for our health. And work it out. But they're just trying to take things by force, by manipulation. And why would I want to help someone like that? Why would you want to help someone like that? They're killing millions to save 2 little white girls. That makes sense to them. Does that make sense to you? So And then lastly, why I've been staying away from the word Africa. You have to change the terminology they use on us. You have to change the word. In fact, you have to change that whole name. Part of the curse is the name. You have to change the name. If you really want to unite, you have to change the names that's been used by them. Words hold power. You have to change the names. Yes, we are alchemists and we can generate negative into positivity, but on this mass scale, sometimes you just need to change the whole word. You need to change the whole word. You need to look at other words. You need to change how it feels when you say it in early, and during, even the word days. It's 2 days away. It's to just let things just go, fade out, fade in. I say all of this to dissect the words. One of the books that they destroyed is, the like anthropology, I believe is the word, the study of words, the origins, and you just have to be very mindful of what's going on. So first thing is save all your datas, keep all your datas, create your own internet, protect your skies, protect your body, and protect your mind. But you have to protect your body too, because I'm telling you, a lot of this is biological warfare. When you feel sick and ill, you don't think as clearly as you should. And then the psychological warfare is paired with that, or it comes directly after that. And that's what you have to put together. So this is also to you, Ibrahim Traore. You're doing a great job. I'm so grateful and proud, and I can't wait to come back home. I have so many ideas. I'm an inventor, but being in this country, I haven't gotten to invent as much things that or anything for real that I would like, but I've had blueprints, and I just have the mind for it. So I can't wait to be an inventor back home, because I know how to dissect and rebuild. And observing these things, I'm telling you, this is part of the key. Thank you so much. Much love for me.